Dear viewers, thanks so much for joining me in another weekly roundup where I'm bringing you all the indie news, games, releases, patches, free games and teasers I discovered last week. We hit 200 subs this weekend, that is just amazing. If you're not subbed yet, please do, it makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. And without further ado, let's dive in. Starting with reveals and announcements. Alaloth, Champions of the Four Kingdoms, published a roadmap for their early access game. The launch was 2 weeks ago, it went fairly well. Steam user rating is gradually climbing since launch, now sitting at 76%. On this roadmap are upcoming features, starting with strongholds in August. The game already has these strongholds, which serve as your starting zone, but they will be expanded upon. Expect more NPCs for trading, crafting and changing your appearance, different layouts to customize a stronghold a bit will be in, and finally you'll be able to collect taxes, depending on your reputation within the region. In the September update, expect 4 new locations to be added to the world, one for each kingdom. A much bigger feature though, and a heavily requested one, is full mouse and keyboard support. Because right now you should really play this game with a gamepad or don't play it at all. September also brings new mobs, items, loot and an improved main quest. After September, called Beyond in the roadmap, there seem to be mostly ideas, not necessarily set in stone features. The devs are pondering an arena mode, which wasn't really what I meant in my review when asking for more modes, but you know, alright. Localization will be a focus point, and to conclude, dragons might make their way into the game. While I enjoy the game, I'll be honest and say these roadmap items don't seem that inspired or interesting. Part of this is that the game is already quite feature complete, and my main issue with it was balancing and replayability. Balancing is going to happen of course over time, but I don't see these other features improve the replay value all that much. Some great news from developer Sure AI, which may not mean much to you. But what if I say these are the people behind Enderall Forgotten Stories, a standalone game and basically a massive Skyrim mod. Enderall was a marvelous game, and Sure AI has been working on a new one for the last year. You would expect an open world RPG maybe, but it is something quite different. This time you're stuck with a crew on a raft in a game called Dreadful River. While floating downstream, you need to fend off enemies, keep your crew alive, update your raft, all those things. According to the Steam tags, it combines survival with roguelite and early access launches in Q4 of this year. Tribes of Midgard, a crafting survival ARPG, is about to launch their 3rd season, which they call a saga. August 11th, expect the Inferno saga to come in hot, unlocking a bunch of fiery destinations with volcanoes, lava, you know the drill. As is typical with their sagas, it features a saga quest, saga boss, a volcanic spire biome, spear weapon, fishing and more. A revamp of survival mode is in the making too, and the 2.0 version of survival comes with a great change. Previously you had to build a village, because that's what you do in this game, and then you defend it from incoming giants. In the new version, the giants stop raiding your village, you can place your homestead wherever you want, crafting is improved, and the game becomes much more about the exploration rather than defending. I think that is a good change. It is something that works really well for Valheim, and it is much more forgiving to players. You get the opportunity to play at your own pace and potentially rely less on others in co-op, which I appreciate. Stone Shard, a pixel art RPG, announced a new update to the game. The Forgotten Lore update launches August 11th, and it is the next installment for this early access game. It features a new boss, a new main quest addition, a new magic school called Electromancy, a new utility tree, Magic Mastery, new points of interest, new Brin buildings, new enemies, a new fatigue mechanic, a new backfire mechanic, making spells sometimes backfire, as if the game wasn't difficult enough already, a new loot type, folios, which are basically lore scrolls, a caravan stop, which is a mobile resting place, a new seashore biome and new items. That's probably gonna be good for another 100 hours of content or so. Cartel Tycoon leaves early access on July 26th. You can turn anything into a tycoon game, so why not a South American drugs cartel? And I can see how that is fun to manage, killing your competitors, exploiting the farmers, smoking the cops, bribing officials and throwing large humongous parties. Great stuff for a video game, which has been in early access for a while now, since March last year. Back then I saw Worth a Buy do a video on it. This is his kind of game of course, and it was a bit rough around the edges, but these days the Steam user rating sits at 78% with over 1,000 reviews. Very decent, and it might be actually worth a buy if you're into sim games. Marauders is the tactical first-person multiplayer looter shooter set in a sci-fi universe. As a space pirate, work solo or in a squad of up to 3 other players to navigate a hostile battleground, hunt for loot, craft new weapons and gear, and salvage what you will need to survive. It sounds fun. You might be also able to raid the Red Planet, but if there's anything red so far about this game, it is a bunch of red flags. There's an open beta, July 20th, and if you want in, you need to pre-order. That's pretty bad, I think. But it's about to get worse because you can't pre-order from Steam. No, because, you know, Steam is a consumer-friendly platform where they have a refund policy. Instead, you can only pre-order from Marauder's own website. Ay. Good luck getting a refund then if the game sucks. I'm keeping tabs on this one, but this raises all alarm bells in my book. Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon, released a new cinematic trailer. This first-person RPG set in the world of Tainted Grail releases in early access in Q4 of this year, and I am excited for that. Their other game, Conquest, was a card battle game with some town building, plenty of classes, great gameplay, but most of all an ambience that is dark and gritty. Clearly, that same universe is on display here in the trailer, and it is a twisted version of King Arthur's world. It was great to explore all of this in Conquest, and I can't wait for The Fall of Avalon to do more exploration, but then from a first-person perspective. Something little different, I saw this trailer and I think this looks pretty cool. This is an upcoming JRPG called Mato Anomalies, developed by Chinese studio ArrowWiz. They're not entirely indie, some research indicates that Tencent owns a minority stake, but I still wanted to do a small shout out. I'm not featuring many Eastern games, especially with this visual style, and exactly this is what struck me about the trailer. It has this 20s era fashion, a bygone oriental city as its decor, and typical JRPG tropes and combat, but with a few twists. For example, health is shared across the entire party, there's a skill tree and dual talent system, and you're playing with 2 protagonists instead of the usual one. No release date, but Steam says coming soon. The last announcement trailer of the day, this is Bravery and Greed, a beat-em-up roguelite dungeon brawler for up to 4 players. Choose from 4 classic fantasy classes, engage in deep robust combat systems and play a variety of cooperative and competitive game modes with friends via local, online or both. Seems solid and it should release sometimes this year. It's teaser time, a mix of small updates or teasers I think are worth showing. Black Skylands, the cool airship game on which you fight top-down aliens or aliens in top-down mode, added cruise control to the spaceship, and if you've ever played this game, this is a godsend. Path of Exile announced the initial release date for next League 3.19. It will launch, if all goes well, August 13th. Also, this weekend, the Zizran Gauntlet started for all the masochists out there. And finally, I wanted to point out that Josh Strife-Hayes did a wonderful interview with Chris Wilson. I will link that in the description. 2 very honest and articulate people talking about their favorite games. It is a joy to watch. Also, it's nice to see someone talk to Chris outside of the PoE community. Novarama, the devs behind Kill Squad, launched an insider program for players to join and help them create their new game, which is kind of interesting. Thymesia, a Souls-like hack-and-slash game made by a small indie team, has been delayed to August 18th, which is just a delay of 1 week. And then I wanted to show you this trailer, revealing the game Radiolight. Have a look and a listen.
So yeah, don't worry man, everything's alright. Hello? You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Loud and clear.
Don't recognize your old friend?
Robert?
I just felt this town calling me back, you know? I mean, this job is literally talking and pushing a button, but still.
Well, it's good to have you back. Hey, Rob? Something's going on.
What are you saying?
Got it telling you, Robert, somebody crashed a car at the bridge. It's her, Robert. I knew it would all come back.
This is a solo dev project. It is creepy as hell and I love this ambience and voice acting. Something for on your radar, I would say. Proceeding with the Patch Plaza, bringing an overview of patch news. Solo dev project Gedonia released patch 0.7a, providing smaller updates and the third installment of modding support. Smaller changes include some new recipes and crafts, more NPCs, cutscenes, better audio and some balancing changes. The modding support now allows you to add instanced dungeons into the game. This game is still very much early access, but it's already a ton of fun. Tavern Master, also early access, served up another big patch, update 1.3. In this one, chandeliers are added, a heavily requested feature. There's a new third-person mode, meaning you can take the form of a customer, walk around in your own created tavern, sit down for a drink and then even go in first-person mode and have a look around. Furthermore, smaller changes are made, such as changing light colors and light reflections on the floor. Striving for Light launched update 0.5.3.3, bringing an actual league into this ARPG. This is Season 1, bringing improvements, balance changes and bug fixes. There is an online mode as well for this, which may have already existed previously. I never noticed it, at least. The only thing I can't really make out from this post is what this league brings. I would expect a new gameplay feature, like in Path of Exile, right? That doesn't seem to be the case, although it does mention something about collectible hearts from bosses, but then it's unclear what the purpose is of those. Are those just health hearts? Not sure, but this game is on my list to do a deep dive on, so I might just play the league and see what's up with it. Then releases, looking back at what released last week. As Proxy, the beautiful top-down twin-stick shooter that stole my heart personally. Ravaging techno beats, sublime sound design. This is a rather unique experience. I did a full review of the whole thing, also my most successful video on the channel so far, which is humbling to be honest. Steam users agree with my assessment and hits a 91% positive rating, which is pretty good. Neon Blight fared less well because the launch of this Neon roguelite store management shoot-'em-up game was plagued by crashes and corrupted save files. It is a nightmare pretty much, leading to jarring user ratings on Steam, only 40%. Ouch. Loopmancer, the 3D platformer with some flashy moves on the go, did a little better, sitting at 68%. I still really like how this game looks, but this isn't a massive success either, as it turns out. Another review I did was for early access colony sim Clanfolk, a survival crafting game where your clan needs to survive in the Scottish Highlands during the Middle Ages. It is just a fabulously fun game, the management aspects are great, and it's one of those titles that have you play just one more day to finish up that building or harvest or craft. Super addictive. My full review is once again in the card in the description. Steam agrees with a 100% positive rating out of 60 reviews. Hellpoint Blue Sun released, the DLC for Hellpoint, a sci-fi third-person Souls-like game. People aren't thrilled about this one because of how many bugs it introduced. The content is good, but the DLC a technical mess. Patching should solve this over time. Steam users rate this at 56%, which isn't a whole lot. And then there's two more games that I missed last week. One of them, Skittle did a review about this. It is Power Wash Simulator. This is a game where you need to clean stuff, which sounds super boring, but apparently it isn't. And it speaks to players on a fundamental level, says Ralph. Seeing things first as busted and dirty, and later clean when you're done with your power tools is very satisfying, and I can see that. It's also available on Game Pass, which helps. You can play this co-op with up to 6 people. It is super soothing and Steam just loves this title with a 97% user rating from almost 20,000 reviews. And proving once again that it is hard to keep up with the games industry, I also missed this game. It's called Dinkum, created by solo dev James Bendon. This game just looks way too cute. It has all the small addictive element of setting up a town as well, and users are loving it, rating it a 94% on Steam with over 400 reviews. It is cheap too, 15 euros over here, so this might be very worth it. Let's look ahead at what is releasing this week. Riftbreaker has a DLC coming up, the Riftbreaker Metal Terror, and allows you to explore the previously unknown regions of Galatea 37, which bore witness to cataclysmic events thousands of years ago. This world expansion introduces new gameplay mechanics and dozens of new items and technologies. Use them to your advantage to survive against an ancient threat. It launches July 18th. And then probably my favorite upcoming game, Stray. You are a stray cat in a cyberpunk city. You befriend a flying drone called B12 and together you're going on an adventure through this neon-lit environment. The way the cat moves, the lighting, the fact it's published by Annapurna, you can't go wrong here it seems. It is available July 19th. This week's sort of free games, because I'm Dutch and I'm cheap. Epic has a Dungeons and Dragons pack. I don't really understand how that works honestly. There's also Wonder Boy the Dragon's Trap, boasting beautiful hand-drawn animations and a reorchestrated soundtrack. This is a cult classic returning with a unique blend of exploration, action and adventure. Uncle Phil from Game Pass added 6 games to the repertoire. Garden Story, a cute pixel art adventure game where you are a fruit and you need to defeat the rot. And you do that by gathering, crafting and fighting. Overwhelm is an action horror world platformer where enemies power up and you don't. What's the fun in that? Then something completely off the charts, Paw Patrol the movie Adventure City Calls. This title alone hurts, but this game is probably hurting a bit more than just the title. I have no idea what this is, it seems to be for kids. On that topic, My Friend Peppa Pig is available too. I think this is a kids series on TV or something. I don't have kids, I don't know. Then something a bit more adult and thought-provoking, Escape Academy, which is basically a virtual escape room game. Could be fun, especially with friends. And last but not least, the aforementioned Power Wash Simulator. Time for some personal updates. What have I been up to? 2 things, really. I've been playing both closed beta weekends of Arcade Paradise, a game where you are a teenager girl and your filthy rich dad, voiced by the voice actor of Geralt of Rivia, lets you run one of his investments, a laundromat. This is extremely boring, of course, and you get the idea to start making money with the arcade machines in the back instead. There is a very satisfying and gradual shift from making money by doing laundry and cleaning things to purchasing more and more space to buy more and more arcade machines. And the kicker of this whole exercise is you get to play the games on those arcade machines. It's a beautiful concept and works like a charm. You are literally making money playing video games in a video game sim. You're living the dream, pretty much. And finally, Josh Strive-Hayes inspired me with the words of Chris Wilson in that interview for PoE, and I decided to make my own minion build in Solo Self-Found, trying out some uniques I found, and so far I'm doing tier 5 maps, and it's very satisfying actually playing the game like this, without a guide, and just mess around with ideas you have. And that's it. If you have any questions or remarks, put them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and you want more like this, consider liking the video or even subscribing. Thanks for watching and making it to the end. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.